March 30th. Have you ever heard of hyperobjects? A hyperobject is an object or event whose dimensions in space and time are massive in relation to a human life. Or defined differently, hyperobjects are things that are so complex that we need to look at them from absolutely every point of view to come close to understanding them. Only looking at the problem through a physical lens or a chemical lens or a geological one or whatever is not enough and will never lead us to the aha moment where all the pieces fall into place and all our observations are sufficiently explained. The rainforest is such a hyperobject. The climate is another one. The solar system, evolution, but also our brains, our mind. And thus, before I dive into the origin of materialism and its fundamental impact on the human mind going back to the axial age, that's 800 BC to 600 AD if you're asking yourself right now, I want to go back even farther, much farther, to the emergence of life. There's no way to realize the fault in the idea of a reduction of a person down to one thing without understanding what the bricks are that we are built out of. So, the Big Bang. More correctly, we might call it the beginning of space-time. It created a huge tension. Immediately after, the universe tried everything to relax, and who doesn't want to do that when stressed out totally? Meaning, it transferred energy. On Earth, it takes the shape of, for example, plate tectonic. A byproduct of plate tectonic is hydrothermal convection. Heat transfer. Like your heating system is hot, your room is cold, the heat goes from the heating system into the room. The same happens from the inside of a planet to the outside. Materials from deeper within the planet are picked up and distributed to the layers further up. The most obvious examples are volcanoes. Iceland, very hot and acidic. But hydrothermal convection also comes in a relatively low temperature, meaning 100 degrees Celsius to maximum 150 degrees Celsius, not your bathtub water. And in the alkaline range. Alkaline hypothermal vents were first discovered in 2000, and these relatively narrow chimneys end in the ocean. That's important because the ocean is carbonic and also contains metals, iron in particular, but also a bit of zinc, cadmium, cobalt, a bit of everything. Through the pores of a vent rises a fluid that got hydrogen, probably some methane, molybdenum, and tungsten too. These are metals. I didn't know them before I started researching and listening to Professor Michael Roussel. As soon as the two fluids interface, they precipitate, and for 10 to 21 nanoseconds, an iron sulfide membrane is generated that keeps the two fluids apart and at a disequilibrium. Its redox and pH give you the equivalent of a voltage of just under 1 volt. It's the same voltage needed to get a metabolism going. It's the voltage, or the fluctuation of it, which all perception starts with. It's the voltage used for cells to communicate. It's the same voltage measured at the membranes of every cell in our human body today and at the membranes of each of its mitochondria. We often forget, but our mind is them. Not one body, but millions of merged cells who keep their insides different than their outsides and are in constant contact with each other. Not just through the nerves. They talk separately. Tomorrow more about what this means in practical terms. For now, think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into a movement so that energy can flow. like, comment, share, and as always, thank you for gifting me with a few minutes of your most precious, your lifetime.